Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Robin, and today I have some recommendations for you for the Game of Tomes Readathon. I'm going to try to give you a recommendation for every category that we have, but some are just honestly going to be up to you. And if you need more recommendations, Ray has her recommendations video up. I'll link that down below. And so, let's just get into it, because there are a lot of prompts. There are 8 houses, 4 prompts per house. Let's do this. There are 2 group prompts. The first prompt is for if you joined us in November for Origin Story, and if you did, then you will be continuing on with a series. So if you're in the middle of any series, go ahead and pick the next one up. But if you didn't join us and this is your first time, welcome. And you will be starting a series. So I hope that there's one that you've been waiting to get to. Now is your chance to pick it up and start reading. Starting off with House Baratheon, or the Iron Throne, you will visit the Great Sept of Baelor. That you're gonna read a book about, set in, or inspired by a time period that is not our own. I would recommend Ring Shout by Peach Jelly Clark. Ring Shout is an alternative history set in 1920s Georgia, I think, where we're following Marcy, and she is on the hunt for Ku Kluxes, who are the monster forms of the KKK, and she has fellow Ku Klux hunters, and this is their story. The next prompt is Kingsguard, and that's reading a book that features bodyguards or military security detail. My choice for that is A Song of Wraiths and Ruins by Roseanne A. Brown. There are bodyguards and security and military in here. You're following Karina, who is about to become queen, and she's looking for her next king so that she can kill him and take his heart so that she can restore her mother's life. But then you're also following Malik, who is entering the tournament to become king so that he can kill Karina for reasons. It is a thrilling ride. Also, this is the first of a series, so you can't double up on prompts, but if you don't want to read this for your military bodyguard prompt, I would suggest this as the first in a series. Then you're going to go on a hunt with King Robert. For that, you'll read about a protagonist over the age of 30. I suggest Death in Her Hands by Tessa Mosfet. The main character is a woman, I don't know what age she is, but she's described as an elderly woman. So I think that would go for someone over the age of 30. You're following our protagonist, who is taking a walk in the woods one day when she comes across this very cryptic note that says, "Here's Magda. No one will ever know who killed her. It wasn't me. Here's her dead body." And you go on this kind of thriller-esque ride trying to figure out who Magda is, who killed her, where did this note come from. It is a very interesting wild ride. Then you're going to collect secrets for Varys, and you're going to read a book about secrets. I suggest you pick up Miracle Creek by Angie Kim. It's about the Yu family, who are Korean immigrants and have a pressure chamber that is an alternative source of medicine. But one day the pressure chamber explodes, and so the story really picks up from there. You're following the trial about who could potentially set the chamber on fire, and you're going through the trial day after day. And let me tell you, there are a lot of secrets. Everybody has a secret. Moving on to the next house, which is House Stark, we have Feed the Direwolves. And that is to read a book with an animal on the cover, in the title, or in the book itself. I'm going with Fox 8 by George Saunders. It's also another tiny little thing. You're following this little fox who learns to speak human. And he is excited to speak human, and he thinks that he can help his fellow fox and foxes. Whoa, I'm having a moment. And things just don't go quite as he thought they would. It's a very interesting ride. It's funny at times, it's a little sad at times, but it's also really short, so you can get through this easily. The next prompt is The Winter Sky, so read a book with silver gray on the cover. I would suggest Moon of the Crusted Snow by Wabashik Rice. We're following an Anishinaabe community when something weird happens. They lose all their power, they lose communication to the outside world, and they're all figuring out like what's going to happen. They start to mistrust each other, resources are getting low, and then some strangers show up. And then what happens? Weird shit. It's creepy, it's cold, it's a good time. Then you're gonna visit John before he leaves for the Wall. For that, you're gonna read a book about travel, going on a quest, on a trip, anything. So I'm gonna choose, it's a little bit of a chunkier book, but The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. The Fifth Season is a science fiction novel. It's also the first of a series, and it follows three women who are traveling for different reasons. There are these things called seasons which kind of destroy the earth, and there are people who are able to stop these seasons from happening, and it's wild. How many times can I say wild in this recommendations video? Probably a lot. And then you're going to help Arya with sparring practice. So you're going to read a book about someone in training. For that, I'm going to choose Scythe by Neil Shusterman. In this, you're following Rowan and Citra, who are Scythes in training to be the next Scythe. And Scythes are people in this world who can glean or kill people because all of the things that would naturally kill people are no longer in existence. And so there needs to be a way to kind of maintain a equilibrium in the population. And so Rowan and Citra are both training to be Scythes, but only one can be a Scythe. You kind of follow them as they train against each other, but with each other they become friends, but also they're kind of enemies a little bit because there's only room for one. Again, another first in a series. I'm just helping all of you series people out. So like if you need to start one, any of these would be a good choice. Going to House Lannister next, you're going to meet Lord Tywin, and it said that he shits gold. So you're gonna read a book with yellow or gold on the cover. I would suggest picking up Take a Hint, Dany Brown by Talia Hibbert. This is the second in the Brown Sisters trilogy, but you don't necessarily have to read these in order, so you can just pick this one up. But you're following Dany Brown. She is the middle sister, and Dany is not here for relationships. However, she meets Zaf, who is a security guard at her job, and she and him have found themselves in a very weird situation where people think that they're dating, but they're not. So this has fake dating tropes in it. So she's dating publicly Zaf, but you know, they may be trying to do a little bit more on the side. Meanwhile, Zaf is a hopeless romantic. I'm not saying that he will fall in love with Dany because Zaf is super grumpy, but things happen. It's a romance. It's a good time. Next, you're going to read a book with a female protagonist. I'm going to choose Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston. This is a middle grade where you're following Amari, who gets accepted to a prestigious magical school, and in hopes of searching for her brother and finding out what happened to him. Everyone says that maybe he died while he was on duty, but Amari doesn't think that. She is on a mission to find out what happened to her brother and where he is. I'm also suggesting this because March is middle grade March, and so, you know, why not pick up some middle grade while you're at it? Your next prompt is going to be lending Tyrion a book. So you're going to want to read a short book, about 150 pages or less. And I think that's a perfect time to pick up a graphic novel or a manga. And I'm going to suggest Saga Volume 1 by Brian K. Vaughan. It is a space opera, and you're following two people from warring planets who have fallen in love and have a baby, but they are also on the run from their respective planets because one, this baby shouldn't exist, and two, they shouldn't be together because warring. It's funny, it is fast-paced, it's exciting, it's a roller coaster. Pick it up. And then you're going to travel to King's Landing as a spy. And so you're going to read about someone pretending to be someone else. I'm going to suggest Pieces of Her by Karen Slaughter. Everything is going well in this very suburban neighborhood one day, until one day this mom is and her daughter in the mall and shit pops off. Mom goes into ninja mode, and when they get back home, they are on the run, and the daughter is trying to figure out, who is my mom and how did she know how to do all of these things? And now why are there people after us? Who is my mom? Who is she? Good, thrilling time. For House Targaryen, you're going to attend the wedding of Khal Drogo and Dany, and for that, you're going to read about an unconventional marriage. For that, I suggest The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. One, she has 7 husbands. Pretty unconventional. Not all at the same time. Just gonna put that out there. But I mean, hey, if she did, she does. So you're following Evelyn Hugo, who is a starlet in like the 50s or the 60s. And now, after many decades have gone past, she decides that it's time to tell her life story and the story of why she had all of these husbands. So she requests for an interview with this pretty unknown journalist, and she goes through her life story, including the reasons she had 7 husbands. So out of the 7, some were definitely unconventional, and you'll find out why. Then you're going to give an offering to Khal Drogo, and so you're going to read a book with sun, moon, or stars on the cover or in the title. For that, I'm going to suggest reading Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. I have not read it, but I've heard such fantastic things about it. It's definitely fantasy for sure, but it has sun in the title, and so that should be enough for you to read it. And the fact that everyone who has read it seems to love it and enjoy it. Then you're going to learn about Dothraki customs, and so you're going to read a book about a culture that is not your own. For that, I have The Love and Lies of Roxana Ali by Sabina Khan. And this is a YA contemporary about a gay Muslim teen, and her parents find out that she's in a relationship with this other girl, and they send her off to Bangladesh, and for what she thinks is just going to be staying there for a couple of weeks until her parents cool off. But no, she's there for something entirely different. This is in Own Voices. There's representation of Bengali culture, which is different than my own. Another prompt is to stop the Westerosi assassin. So you're going to read a book about murder. For that, I'm going to suggest A Favorite Sister by Jessica Knoll. If you enjoy murder, the behind the scenes of a reality TV show, then this would be a good one, because you're following 5 women who are on a reality TV show. 2 of them are sisters, and you're like seeing what actually goes on behind the scenes of filming everything, all the backstabbing, all the dealings that go on. It never ends. Do you like any of the characters? No, but that's not what we're here for. You know what I mean? We're here to figure out why one of the people was murdered in the very first chapter. Moving on to some of our newer houses, we have House Martell. The first prompt is Dorne, where you're going to read a book with summer vibes. Another one that I have not actually read, but my work bestie has been begging me to read it, so maybe I'll actually just pick this up. But every summer, a group of friends and their families spend the season on an island. It's a YA mystery thriller, and it says, if anyone asks you how it ends, just lie. So, but I do know that it has summery vibes. It's summer on an island. Hello. The next prompt is Sand State. You're going to read a book featuring sisters. I'm going to suggest My Sister the Serial Killer by Oyinkan Braithwaite. You're following 2 sisters, Corriday and Ayola, and Corriday is always coming to Ayola's rescue. Ayola is the younger sister. She's the beautiful sister, the one that everyone dotes upon. And Corriday is not. She's the older sister, and people just, they don't care. But Corriday is always there for her sister, cleaning up after her messes, especially when her sister murders yet another man. And so you're figuring out why Iola keeps killing these men and why Corday keeps cleaning up her sister's messes. The next prompt is Prince Oberyn, so you're going to read a book about revenge. I'm going to say Vicious by V.E. Schwab. You're following two friends that were friends in the beginning, but then they were trying to figure out how to make people extraordinaries, how to make themselves extraordinaries, which are people with supernatural abilities. And so their friendship comes to a halt a little bit when they both become extraordinaries, and then one is put into prison. And you're figuring out how he got there, and he's a little upset about it. Revenge plots in this one. Next prompt is Princess Marcella, and for that you're going to read a book that is set in a country that is not your own. I would choose House of Spirits by Isabel Allende. That is set in Chile, and I haven't read this in a really long time, and it's been on my mind for some reason, which probably means that maybe I need to go ahead and pick it up and reread it, which I have been more open to doing, so maybe I will. You're following 3 generations of a family, and they're all obviously different in different ways because they've all faced different political backgrounds and just things that have happened in the country that make them all different and view things differently. It's magical realism, generational family saga. Sounds like everything that I love. I will definitely be picking this up again, probably in the near future, because I need to read it, so also suggesting that you read it. Then for House Tyrell, we have Highgarden, which is the home of the Tyrells, and for that it's to read something with flowers on the cover. I'm going to suggest The Inheritance of Orcadia Divina by Zoraida Cordova. You can't see, there are flowers. There are flowers on the cover. Another generational family saga. You're following the Montoya family and their matriarch, Orcadia Divina, and they don't know very much about her because she's pretty aloof. She stays very quiet about her past. She doesn't really talk about it. But one day she sends out invitations to her entire family, and she's like, hey, I need you to come home because I'm dying. I'm inviting you to my funeral. And they're all like, oh, what's happening now? Like, why do we have to go? So they get there, and then family secrets start to reveal themselves. Next prompt is Marjorie, and that is to read a popular book. I'm going to suggest reading Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. Pretty popular. Also first of a series. Do you like heists? Do you like found family? Do you like a guy who will murder other people very viciously, sometimes for no reason, sometimes for a very good reason? I know I do. Kaz Brecker and his crew of friends, misfits, are trying to work together so that they can pull off a heist of a lifetime when they are trying to procure something that could potentially save the world. The next prompt is Loris, and that is to read a book with a pretty cover, and for that I'm going to choose All Boys Aren't Blue by George M. Johnson because it is a pretty cover. And this is the nonfiction memoir of George M. Johnson. You're following George's life from the time that they were really young to the time of their adulthood, and the exploration of their sexuality, their gender identity, who they want to be, and like just as a general overall person, to their family, to their friends, who they want to be seen as. And it's a very good story. I love the exploration of like Black joy, because sometimes you just need a little bit of joy. And I mean, it's just so pretty to look at. Look at the flowers. Also, flowers on the cover, so if you need something for that besides The Inheritance of Orcadia Divina, here you go. The last prompt for House Martell is Political Maneuvering, and that is to read a book featuring or about politics. For that, I'm going to suggest reading Jade City by Fonda Lee. This is the first book in the Greenbones saga, so you're following the Greenbones of the No Peak clan and the Mountain clan in fictional Kacon. And Greenbones are people who can possess jade abilities, a supernatural ability that only a certain group of people can possess. They are warring with each other, so they are warring with each other in a physical combative sense, but they're also warring with each other in the political realm, trying to get a foothold for themselves, not only in the country of Kakon, but also worldwide. It's an exciting look at two clans. It's a like a fantasy mafia-esque story. Exciting, fast-paced, interesting family dynamics. So give it a shot if you haven't. Next is House Greyjoy. First prompt is to journey to Pike with Theon, and that is to read a book from someone's worst of list, whether it's a blog or a Bookstagram post or from somebody's YouTube channel. I will link some worst of videos down below if you need some inspiration. The next prompt is Iron Island, so you're going to read a book set on an island. I'm going to suggest And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. A group of people are invited to this island and their host doesn't show up, but you know what does show up? Murder. And so they have to figure out who murdered this one person on this island. There's only like 8 of them on this whole island, so who did it? Now, you guys were probably thinking I was going to say something tropical and fun, but no, I'm going to give you murder instead. I feel like it fits a Game of Tomes theme, you know? Murder, backstabbing, mystery. Next prompt is Drowned God, so you're going to read a book featuring religion or mythology. And did I include this in my recommendations for last round? Yes. Am I including it on this round? Yes, because I just want everyone to read that, and that is Love and Color by Bolu Babalola. This is retellings of love stories from around the world. These are from different myths and legends and folk tales from across the world, retold for a contemporary audience. If you want something a little bit more mythology and godlike, I'd also suggest the first book in The Poppy War by Arv Kwong. You're following Rin, and she is trying to escape her potentially terrible life as like a nobody. So she finds her way into this prestigious military academy for people who with potential to be like the next commanders, and there's gods and mythology present along with war. Again, fitting for this readathon. The last prompt for House Greyjoy is to join Asha on her ship, and that is to read a book about an ambitious main character. I'm going to suggest Death Note by Shigomi Oba, and Volume 1, you're following Light, and all throughout the series, you're following Light, who gets his hands on a Death Note. And the Death Note is a journal where if you write somebody's name and the cause of their death, they will die. And Light is like, you know what? This is my moment to play God. This is my moment to shine. And he thinks no one can outsmart him. He thinks he's smarter than the police, than the FBI, every single person that is sent to find who is killing these criminals. Now, is Light doing a good thing? I don't know. Who's to say who can take life and who can't? But Light is determined to take down every single bad guy. And if that's not ambitious, I don't know what is. Then the last house on this list is people going to the wall. Your first prompt is going to be getting fitted at the armory. So you're going to read a book that you did not purchase. So that means that a book that was gifted to you, that was given to you, that you borrowed maybe from a friend or from the library. So pick something up. So then you're going to feed the raven, and you're going to read a book with a bird on the cover. And so I'm choosing Sing Unburied Sing by Jasmine Ward. You can't really see it, but that's a bird. I don't know what kind of bird it is, but it's one with wings. You're following this family in rural Mississippi, and Jojo is kind of being a parent to his little sister while his mother and father are just being questionable people. But Jojo is also being visited by a spirit who's trying to help him along and lead him not on like the right path, but lead him on a path. This whole time, Jojo and his little sister have really been raised by his grandparents on his mother's side, but they're getting older in age. So he's dealing with like how to deal with your grandparents and the people who raised you not really being there, along with their parents who are kind of absent and not the best parents. You're really exploring the dynamics of this family and the effects that it has on the kids. Escort Master Aemon, and for that you're going to read a book that you know nothing about. And if you're me, then that's not going to be very hard for you to do because I never know what books are about. Just, pull a book at random. If you know what all the books on your shelves are about, then aren't you lucky? How does it feel to be God's favorite? Then maybe just take a trip to the bookstore or the library or browse your Kindle and then pick something that sounds interesting, but don't read the synopsis at all. Then your last prompt is to join the expedition. You are going to read a book set in nature, and for that I'm going to suggest Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer. This is about Area X, which has been cut off from the rest of the world for a very long time because weird things happen in this one section. Expeditions have been sent there and some people come back not okay, some people don't come back at all, some people are missing forever. But in this one, you're following a recent expedition and you get to go with them as they experience Area X. Weird things happen, people disappear, other people turn on each other. It gets weird fast, but in a good way. I would highly recommend picking this up, even if you don't read it for this recommendation. I would suggest all of these books, even if you're not reading them for this readathon. So, that being said, these are my recommendations for the Game of Tomes readathon. I hope you found something on this list that'll help you for your prompts. If you come back next week or later this week, you'll see what my TBR is going to be, what house I'm going to be in. Let me know down below what house you're thinking of being in, if you plan on picking up any of these books as part of the readathon or just, for general reading purposes. And until next time, bye.